So we're one day from launch. At this point, a lot of you guys are wondering, what was the point of Addon getting? We're almost to the point where we were before they even did anything at all. So what was the point of the last 6 months, where we've come full circle and come back to basically Addons having almost as much power as they had before they even did any of this? It's a valid question. As you know, they recently announced that healer spells are no longer secret. That's fixing the one last issue with spell filtering on unit frames. Blizzard finally just put their hands in the air and said, alright, we can't accommodate you, so we're going to go ahead and desecret it and let add-ons accommodate you. And that's not all. A lot of the stuff they said they didn't want boss mods doing, they've already allowed us to do. We already have almost full feature parity.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's what we had before. Audio countdowns on any timer you want.
5,
Custom sounds
4, 3,
on most abilities.
1.
Run out.
And by the way, this isn't using workaround. These are official APIs. I'll get into discussion about workarounds later that go even further beyond this. In addition, boss mods are replicating this. Both DBM and Big Rigs are doing this. And this is, again, another official API. It's not even a new one. This one's been around since Dragonflight, I'm pretty sure. But it was in form of a weak aura. A weak aura that would add private auras to kind of debuff to a frame and make it more visible. Now that weak auras is dead, boss mods just basically picked up weak aura and made it a boss mod feature instead. Like, that'll help show, like, tank debuffs and things like that, or personal debuffs in a more visible way. Again, that's just official API. But you're looking at these things and wondering, what exactly did Blizzard break? And to be honest, not much besides our spirit. The countless hours add-on authors had to put in to work around things or to use these new pain-in-the-ass APIs, the amount of hours you players have had to do to rebuild your UI over and over again, just to have the Blizzard constantly going, okay, here's a little more, here's a little more, still not enough? Okay, here's a little more, because even Blizzard has realized that after what they did, they made a situation to where the players were unhappy, and unhappy players don't play the game, so they have to pull things back little by little until they get to the point where everything they said they were going to do was effectively cancelled for the most part. With the exception of computational recourse, which was the original goal to begin with. The goal of making it so things like Fractalist can't happen, where 5 players get a debuff, and Aura automatically assigns 5 lanes to 5 players. Be like, you go to square lane, you go to X lane, you go to circle lane. That's still not possible. At least, it's not supposed to be possible. They're continuing to... Players are continuing to be creative in finding workarounds to that still, but Blizzard is constantly batting them down. I don't think any players really want to have to spend 30 minutes before a boss fight messing with weak auras before they can even pull the boss and try it at all. You know, they want the fight telegraphs to be good enough and the debuff durations to be long enough to figure that out without having to have a programmer on their raid team. And that's fair and valid for both players and Blizzard. No one wants that. I don't even want that, and I'm a coder. And I can code solutions for that. I don't want to code solutions for that. That is the one thing that's still broken. And rotation helpers, to a degree, are still broken too. But players are finding ways to, at least, creative solutions to determine player cooldowns. Even ones that aren't in the cooldown manager. And it's going to be hard for Blizzard to break that without collateral damage. We'll see how that goes. But full rotation helpers like Hickory, I'm probably saying it wrong, I never actually learned the right pronunciation, are still not possible. Those are the only 2 things that really stand still broken. Everything else, everything that Blizzard did beyond that, in my honest opinion, was a colossal waste of time. To Blizzard's developers, to the players, to the add-on developers, the amount of time they spent secreting so much of the API just to have clear and obvious workarounds to it, or equivalent feature parity despite the secrets, could have been invested in actually just making the base UI better in the first place, or something else entirely. Now, I have to hand it to that UI team. They did a phenomenal job. I will never bash the UI team. They are skilled and friendly developers who are simply done a task they were assigned to, and they did it admirably. And in an amount of time that was miracle work. Like, Scotty would be proud. They did a fantastic job. They were given an impossible task, and they did the best they could with it. Do I agree with the allocation of resources? No. Should they have done it at all? And I honestly say no. Like I said in my original videos a long time ago, the best solution to break computational recars has and was always been to make all DevOps private auras and completely and utterly destroy all forms of add-on communication that can be used to work around it, i.e., pressing a macro, setting an AFK flag, using raid icons, etc. Any workaround that could be used for add-on communication to auto-solve a mechanic. Because I think all players were on the same page, computational recars had to go. But I don't think any player said that their grade frames needed to be gutted to oblivion, and Blizzard found out the hard way and had to immediately do pulling back with things like this. Because they realized players did not ask for this. Blizzard chose to take one task too far. The point of this video is there's still more. You see, there are still workarounds that haven't yet been discussed. There's still more that you're going to see. Here's what you're going to see during the Race to the World first. You're going to see spell renaming, despite how much Blizzard hates it. You're going to see custom alert text on the screen when abilities are cast. Right now, the API, like the official API, you can set custom sounds, but you cannot change the text on the timers, and you can't change the text on the warning. But you can ignore the API, not entirely ignore it, I'll explain. All these timer events, most of the stuff in them is secret. The spell ID is secret, the spell name is secret. You know what's not secret? The duration. Because the duration has to be public to allow add-ons to create bars in the first place. Well, then there is the catch-22. Look at all these bars that are starting right here. Every bar is a unique time. So decoding what these bars are is child's play. You literally only need to know, okay, spell 1 is this one, spell 2 is this one. Then you can ignore the fact that the name is secret, the spell ID is 0. That doesn't matter. This is all you need for the ability right here. As long as you have the times and fill in the information, you can fill in the blanks. Kind of like what was done here. Workaround solutions were created because players could fill in the blanks. As long as there's non-secrets you can piece together, and there's enough of them, everything that is secret also becomes non-secret. What'll likely happen in the long term, honestly, Blizzard will probably decode this. They'll probably make the spell ID and the name non-secret at a point, just so that the people who don't have professional coders on hire won't be at disadvantage. Because right now you're looking at a situation to where Method, Echo, Liquid, they all have professional coders on hand, so their add-ons are going to be superior to your add-ons, because their add-ons are going to rename spells. Their add-ons are going to have custom alert text. Their add-ons are going to have reminders on the screen with assignments. Your add-ons are going to have generic spell text and generic announce text, because you don't have a coder in your guild to give you better add-ons. So the complete opposite of what Blizzard wanted is still going to happen, because they took the wrong approach to things. And there's still time to fix it. There's still time for the race. Honestly, my message to Blizzard, the spell ID and spell name on the timeline and warning system needs to be secreted ASAP to give everyone a fair competitive advantage. Because the way it is now, you're looking at a situation to where the top guilds are going to have better boss mods than you do. At least for the first 2-3 weeks of the raid. Obviously, they'll probably make their tools public after the fact. But then again, players are going to be like, well, what the hell was the even point? We have the same crap we had before. We just have to achieve it in a roundabout way. And we have to wait for it because there's a competitive advantage to it, which means the people need to use it before you can. And that's just a bad situation that Blizzard created, once again, with this whole mess. And you might be wondering, well, can't Blizzard just make the duration on the timer itself secret? It doesn't matter. They could take this API away. They can take away the entire timeline API. Just delete it. And be like, okay, Addons can't use it anymore. I already proved on my stream multiple times that still doesn't matter. We can just do this. Okay. Let me pull up Warcraft logs. Oh, these are the timers? I'll just hard code them in a table. Okay, now I'll just schedule them on the pull. A schedule infinite loop that loops the timer table. And done. And then you're like, oh, what if Blizzard randomizes timers? We already know that doesn't work. That's not a engineering solution they'd be willing to take, because it creates a bad boss fight. Try doing a fight as hard as Dimensius or Farak with random ability orders and random ability timers. A 400 pull boss that's now going to be an 800 pull boss because half your pulls are wasted because the timer RNG is bad. That won't happen. And I'd be like, well, let's make the fight easier. Oh, so you want the boss to fall over because they have to have random timers to break add-ons. It's like, there's a point when gameplay is sacrificed to counter add-ons. There's a limit to engineering solutions to combat this. What I'm basically saying is there is no way to combat this. So at the end of the day, they didn't take the win they got. The win they got was computational recars. They won there. And everyone wanted them to win there. No one wants to have auto-assigning recars that tell players, you go to X, you go to square, you go to triangle, you go to circle. But nobody told Blizzard to break renaming spells, renaming nameplates, things like that. Those kind of things are still the kind of things that Blizzard's stubbornness is going to create an army of creative coders doing workarounds. And I say that with emphasis. Their UI team is great. They've got skilled engineers, but they are a handful. Addon authors have a legion of coders that are going to cat and mouse this, and it's going to result in a long, long, never-ending war that Blizzard cannot win and will not win because it's just, they are outnumbered and outmatched in this case. And the players, at the end of the day, are going to get what they want one way or another. So, the TLDR of this video is, did Blizzard go too far? Yes. Are they slowly starting to realize it? Yes. Have they realized it enough yet? Not yet. I think the real realization is going to come when the Race to the World First comes, and players and Blizzard see what people have created. Because I will tell you, they've created things that put this to shame. This is just what you can do with the public API. I'm not even doing anything degenerate or workaround here. I might have created an example workaround here, which I was going to show you in this video, but ultimately I couldn't actually get my guild to show up to raid, so I couldn't do anything more than a 30-second pull on the boss, and that wasn't very meaningful, so I eventually gave up on trying to actually get a clip. But I digress. The point is, this workaround worked, and didn't even rely on the timeline API, really. Talking in circles at this point. I think you get the point. Things are about to get interesting. Sorry for the crappy video, I decided to record it on a whim the day before the expansion. Anyways, hope you enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one.